Welcome, adventurers! What's going on, guys? My name is Cody. This is Taking 20, a channel about all things role-playing games. And today, I want to talk about those boring characters. Those characters that you've been playing a while, that you're just done with, man. They're just not doing it for you anymore. Something's not clicking. How can we fix this? That's what I want to talk about. And I want to even talk about those characters that you do like, how we can make them more interesting and more fun to roleplay. So, I hope you guys are ready. Let's get started. Alright, so before we jump into today's topic, I gotta give a huge shout out to all the kick-ass Taking 20 patrons. Thank you guys for making these videos possible. Thank you for supporting the channel. And if you guys are not part of that community and you want to support the channel, there's like a bunch of different stuff. Yeah, whatever. Alright, let's move on. So, let's talk about boring characters. Let's talk about these characters and what we can do to fix them. How can we make these guys more interesting? The first step to making these characters more interesting, to fixing these boring characters, is to figure out the why. The why is the most important part of the equation. The why are they so boring? Why are you not having fun with them? Is it combat? Is it role play? Do you not feel like you're getting to explore your character's background enough? Maybe you run into an issue like what I had with Rendragel, my wizard gnome, that he was a dick. I just hated being a dick to everybody all the time. So whatever the why is, that's the most important thing to figure out how to make the character more interesting, how to fix the problem. We got to figure out what the why is. Why aren't you enjoying it? Once you have that and you know what is causing the issue, then we can go about addressing it. Because I think that there's a huge issue that I've seen a lot of role players do, and that is that they think that they're trying to push this trope, this characteristic of their character. They're trying to show and imply X trait, X characteristic, X personality about their character. And they just keep pushing on it and pushing on it and pushing on it. And I think therein lies the problem. Therein lies most of the problem. And that is that your character is static. Your character is boring because we get it. He's a dick. He's a lone wolf. He doesn't like to help the party in town. He's combat only. He always wants to talk and always wants to be in the limelight. And maybe you're just tired of that. Whatever the problem is, I'm betting it has been a problem for a while now. And that's because your character is not growing. Your character is not developing. So the key to fixing a boring character is to make the character dynamic. Dynamic characters are interesting characters. Static characters are very boring. All right, now that we know what we want to do, how do we do it? How do we make our characters dynamic? What is the easiest way to roleplay this so that it doesn't just seem overnight something happened to my character because I got bored with him and now I'm playing him differently? There are two ways that you can jump in and make your character a dynamic character. There's two paths here for you. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples. The first way is the big impact way. This is the way that most people think, where they have their characters, they go through something, and then their characters come out differently. This is what we see a lot in movies. This is something that you can absolutely use at the gaming table. It could be a near-death experience, combat especially. It could be having your bag get robbed. It could be seeing a beggar or a young child. It could be seeing something that opens your eyes to this other way of thinking. These big impacts are easy to come across in tabletop role-playing games. A good movie example of this is to look at Batman from Batman Begins. So Bruce Wayne is this pissed off, angry billionaire who can't move on with his life. He's kind of stuck. He is a static character. He's doing the same things over and over and over. And then he meets Ra's al Ghul. And that is the impact. That sends him off in another direction. Then he transitions and becomes Batman, and he is a totally different person with a different personality type. That is a interesting character. That's not a boring character. The other path you can take is something that is a lot more subtle. That is a bunch of small impacts that combine together to kind of form an overall change to your character. It could be continued combat. It could be the struggle against evil. It could be a lot of the same things, but it doesn't have to be quite so overnight. A great example of this is Neville Longbottom from the Harry Potter series. This is a character that early, when he was young, is portrayed in the series as a doofus, right? The kid's a goober. He forgets everything. He's terrible at magic. He wants to stand up, but he's not really good at it. He's kind of a dork, kind of an outcast. He gets picked on a lot. Then, by the end of this series, he's a badass. He is one of the leaders. He is putting his life on the line. He is heroic. He has transitioned slowly over and over and over from being exposed to the same things and building up until he gets to a point where he has gradually shifted from one way to another. That is an interesting character. If Neville Longbottom had been the exact same all the way through the entire series, he'd be boring. His love interest would be boring. It wouldn't matter. You wouldn't care. So let's think about this for our characters at the table. Is your character exhibiting the same trait over months of a long campaign? Let's evolve your character. Let's push them in a different direction. If you have the lone wolf, then shift him. Even if you don't want to get rid of that whole stigma of your lone wolf just completely, at least shift him over to maybe one of the party members. Have him go to one person to be a confidant. That is a dynamic characteristic. If your character is always the pickpocket, and he's always trying to loot and stab and murder hobo and all that shit that everybody has seen a rogue do before, have them shift and have them care about something. Have them care about a woman or another party member or the sick. Have them shift from seeing the same evil over and over and over and over and over, and have that have an effect on them. Nobody comes out of war unscathed. Think about that. Nobody comes out of a war the same person they go in. So if your character is traveling the countryside, constantly being put at risk, constantly seeing their friends be attacked and bloodied and maybe killed, that's going to have an effect on them eventually. So start shifting your character into a different trait, away from the trait that is bothering you at the table. And that will help you fix those characters that are boring you by doing the same thing over and over and over. And I will say, don't be afraid to talk to your dungeon masters or your game masters. If it's something that you want to do for your character, then just tell your game master, hey, I'm looking for a big impact. I'm looking for an excuse to change my character. That is completely acceptable metagaming. You can talk to your game masters and say, hey, listen, I'm not having a lot of fun with my character, but before I throw a whole bunch of work on you with how you're going to write off my character and write a new one in, let me see if maybe I can change a couple things. I'm looking for a path. I'm looking for a way that I can shift my character from these things that I don't like. I don't like how they're treating the other party, and I really don't like what they do in combat. And take those things and shift them into something else. And tell your dungeon master that. Your game master is going to understand. They're not going to care that you're metagaming, planning out your character. And I'm betting they'll help you get your character to a point that you're having fun again at the table. So there you go, guys. There is how you can take a character that is boring and static and annoying you and pull them into a different path to have more fun at the gaming table. So my question to you guys is, what are some of the reasons that you have found that you don't like your characters? What are some things that you haven't really enjoyed about them? What are some things that you have found to shift them to a dynamic character that have helped you re-enjoy them? Did you play differently as a wizard? Did you get rid of all your fireball spells and start playing with web and hold monsters? Let us know in the comments below, and let's talk this out and get people having some more fun at the table. If this is your first time here and you love role-playing games as much as I do, I'd love to have you subscribe. I'll be putting out new videos every week on DM tips, player tips, tutorials, and more. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, just hit that subscribe button down below and come join us. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Cody, and may your games be filled with awesome memories and even better friends. I'll catch you guys next time.